This is a recording of the LinkedIn Tips and Tricks workshop that Sue Ellson hosted on O-Week Semester 2 2020. If you like this workshop and want Sue to come back and do more workshops with the SSU, let us know. We do have a survey live during O-Week, but if you're watching this in the future, you can always send us an email at ssu@ssu.org.au. We did miss the first minute of this recording, so it does jump in at a funny point, but you haven't missed anything crucial. Enjoy!
Then I moved to Melbourne, got a job, got sacked, haven't had a real job since. So that basically means since 1994, all of my income has come from work that I've managed to attract to myself. And my last book is called Gigsters. So you'll see down the bottom here a picture of my 4 books, the Gigsters one. I believe the future of work is not going to be about jobs as such. It's going to be work. So a bit of this, a bit of that, a bit of something else. And the beautiful thing about that is that you can choose and mix and match. So some of your creative side, some of your academic side, some physical side, whatever suits you. That's the way I see technology enabling us in the future. So LinkedIn is a key strategy in that process for me. If you Google LinkedIn specialist anywhere in Australia, I pretty much come up in search results once or twice or even 3 times sometimes on the first page of Google search results. So if you want to be really well known for what you do and also to be found if an employer is looking for you and they've got your name and you've got that, one way or another to them, then LinkedIn is where you want to have that story told so that they can say, yes, this person is a good match for me. Now, what I also want to remind you about, I was responsible for the graduate recruiting program for Westpac, and we didn't rely on grades as the only determinant as to whether or not we would accept a student into our graduate recruitment program. So if you have lower grades than you were hoping for from university, please do not worry. You will be recognised by an employer by the value you can bring from day one. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be perfect from day one, but if you're motivated, willing to learn, proactive, keen to use your skills, keen to learn, keen to listen, adapt, all of those things will be fabulous for you. And, that's much better value to an employer, is being able to see you be willing to learn and adapt when you get into that type of role. So another key component of my life is I'm a member of a lot of the professional associations. I believe they're really important to be a member of. So if you're not already, join up as a student member now before you finish your university studies or even before you start them, because you can get really cheap student memberships for professional associations. And also another really key component of my career has been the voluntary work that I've done. And there's a heap of interesting things you can do on a voluntary basis for a day, a week, a month, a year, whatever you like. And I really encourage you to do that, meet new people, create friends, build networks, get referrals, all of the things that are really fantastic for securing work. Even during a recession or a pandemic, I'm still getting work in, and that's because I have a network of people who know what I can do. Now, as a result of me still getting work in, I'm also doing my bit to help other people out as well. So this is definitely one component of that. Okay, so moving right along. If you would like to learn more about the history of LinkedIn, there's a little bit of information there. LinkedIn has become more popular in the last 2 years than it has been since I joined in 2003, but it's definitely an amazing tool. It's not just an online resume. It's a fantastic tool for publishing, which I'll talk about later, for you to build your network from day one of your time at Swinburne right through till day last or future Swinburne opportunities if you come back and do further studies. So really, really encourage you from now on, everyone you meet, invite them to connect with you on LinkedIn. Also, go back and think of all the people you've met in the last 3 years or so and try and remember who they all are and connect with those people as well so that you can take your network with you throughout your life. The next key thing that's really important with LinkedIn is if you don't have your keywords on your LinkedIn profile, you will not be found. So if you don't mention that you're a chemical engineer or a student studying chemical engineering, you are just not going to be found. You can't just say you're a student at Swinburne. if you want a job, you need to indicate the types of things you're good at and also the things you want to do. So one client I had finished his course and had done some work experience for a small accounting firm. And then what happened is he actually lost his job and he was devastated. His dad came to the rescue and suggested that he come and do a LinkedIn workshop with me. And sure enough, we changed his LinkedIn profile around and called him an aspiring accountant. And before you knew it, he was getting loads of queries for anybody looking for accounting services. And of course, within, I think it was, less than 3 months, he got a new job, even after being sacked from his previous one. So the keywords are a critical component of what you put on LinkedIn. And if you don't know what your keywords could be, you can check out that link there. There is a website called myfuture.edu.au, which lists jobs. It helps you with career information, a whole bunch of stuff. And that will give you some ideas of some of the words you can start putting on your LinkedIn profile right now, even if you're just starting your studies. And obviously, one of the key components that I'm really focusing on today is encouraging you to build your network throughout your university journey. If you're not aware of some of the other benefits, you can check those out there. There's also a business case if you're actually doing some part-time work and the boss says, well, why are you bothering with LinkedIn? Well, here's the article to send them. And also some reasons as to why you should create a good LinkedIn profile. That's also there. My Future. Thank you, Lucy, for popping that up in the chat. myfuture.edu.au. It's free to join, but you do need to use a Melbourne postcode to be able to register. So just be aware of that. Lots of other reasons you should be on LinkedIn. If somebody Googles your name, it's likely to come up in Google search results. Believe it or not, over 75% of people will Google you before a job interview and 95% before they offer you a job. So if you want to be found online, you definitely need to be on LinkedIn. It's free. You can build your database. You can use it as a research tool to find people locally and internationally who might be able to help you with assignments, research, information, whatever. And you can also optimize it so that you can be found in Google search results. If anybody would like to share in the chat how LinkedIn has helped them up until now, I would love to hear your stories. Won't mention names, but it would be really wonderful to hear how LinkedIn has benefited you in the past. I'd love to hear it. Also, what you really need to think about is why using LinkedIn, because that's going to change the wording around. Now, some of the people who come to me for LinkedIn workshops have some concerns. Some of them are concerned about privacy. So if you're a little bit nervous now, you can create a LinkedIn profile and turn it so that it's not visible. So you can play around with it, but still not have people see it. If you don't know who to connect to, that depends on your purpose. So I connect with pretty much anyone who's in Australia, and also too much time. We all know how much time you can waste on social media. I tried TikTok recently, and that was 2 hours of my life I'll never get back. And I decided it's not for me, but I'm sure there's heaps of you who love TikTok. But I spend not that much time on LinkedIn every day, but I do check it every day. I find it very, very helpful to me. Too costly. I'm still using the free account, so you don't have to pay. I don't recommend that you subscribe to premium unless you have actually done all these things first, and then you can consider premium. If you want to ask me more questions about that later, we can. Some people say, oh, but my English is terrible and I don't know what to write and I don't like to talk about myself. Well, good news, you only have to write dot points. You don't have to go into a lot of story. You've just got to remember that your main goal, if you want work, is to get people to look at your profile first. So those words that they might be looking for need to be in your LinkedIn profile. Scared of computers? Well, they're here to stay. This is more for some of my older clients. We have to move from digital literacy, which means you have a LinkedIn profile, all the way over to digital competency. So you're using LinkedIn as a way to achieve the results you want. Sometimes if you're working for a company, you'll need to abide by their social media guidelines. And if you need help, ask a friend or an expert. No trouble there. Now, there's some specific things that I'd like to talk about in relation to studying at Swinburne. And the first one is that you should right now list that you are studying at Swinburne, if that's the case. And what you can do in the description part is you can say, give a description of the university, because some people from other states or countries might not have heard of Swinburne. And then you can start mentioning the subjects you've completed or completing, and also some of the topics. So if you want to be found for a topic that is within a subject, you could put those words in there too. You could also add a link to Swinburne in the text box, because on an Android phone that will be clickable. And then also you can add a video so that you can add some media to that section of your profile. Now the good news is Swinburne has a whole bunch of videos that you can choose from. So pick one of them and add that in as well. That's really going to showcase your digital competency. You also should add your Swinburne email address to your LinkedIn account. That means that anybody who knows you via your Swinburne email will automatically be able to find you on LinkedIn, and you won't accidentally end up with 2 LinkedIn profiles. You can also follow Swinburne and the Swinburne Student Union, who's bringing this to you today, and join the alumni group even before you've finished. Now, I have one client who started a degree at one university, only did 3 subjects, hated it there, moved to another university, but still put both of those universities on her LinkedIn profile so that she would come up in the alumni for both of those universities, which again increases her chances of appearing in search results and getting work. You can follow University Union, join the alumni group, yep. Consider following the Swinburne company profiles that are also listed on LinkedIn. So if you type in Swinburne in the search box, you'll see that there's quite a lot of others that might be of interest to you. You can invite everyone you meet, students, tutors, lecturers, to connect with you. Don't assume that lecturers will want to connect with you, but some do, so you're welcome to invite them. You can endorse other people for their skills if you've been working on some team projects, and you can also recommend other people using the keywords they're trying to be known for. I did hear this story about a group of engineering students who all endorsed each other for engineering, which I thought was kind of funny because they weren't in engineering yet, they were just studying it, but you know, why not if it's going to help you come up in search results again. And obviously you can also follow the Swinburne Student Union on Facebook, which is where this event was listed, so I encourage you to do that. Now, if you have to leave for any reason, this is the first 15 minutes, this is the most important information. I really encourage you to look at this link that I wrote on LinkedIn for students and future graduates, as well as this one, what to do for your career whilst you're working from home. Now, in the middle of lockdown here in Victoria, there's still a lot of things that you can do for your career. You can't go to networking events, you know, there's lots of things you can't do in person, but there are a lot of other things that you can still do. So that particular article goes into a lot more detail, and I really invite you to check that out and see, you know, some other suggestions there. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go through, and if you've managed to print this document out, or if you just like to write the numbers down on a piece of paper, these statistics are all real time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you my LinkedIn profile and where all these are, and you'll see my numbers. And obviously I don't expect your numbers to be anywhere near similar, but if you want to come and collect your own, you can just click these links and that will give you the opportunity to see the same thing. So over here on my LinkedIn profile, the first one we're going to start off with is how many people are in my network. And, oh, here's Sarah. Nice to hear from you, Sarah. I'll definitely accept that invitation request. How could I not do that? Oh no, my screen's not going to let me see it. Okay, here we go. Accept. So the number of people in my network is over here, 18,932. So that's the number I write on my sheet. The next one is my number of followers. So this is the people who I've not connected to, but still want to see my content. So I've managed to secure, let's see, wait, it'll come up. 20,000 followers. So I have more followers than connections, which in theory makes me a thought leader. So if you want to check someone's profile out and see, you know, how many followers they have, you can have 30,000 connections, but you can have an unlimited number of followers. So that's an option there for you as well. Got a couple of quick questions. Yes, you will have access to this document, and Emma's popped it up in there again in the chat if you'd like to see the document. Okay, the next one is back on your own LinkedIn profile. And this is really going to tell you whether your LinkedIn profile is working for you or not. And the first one is the number on the left in the dashboard saying how many people have viewed your profile in the last 90 days. Now that number, if you're in the job hunt, should be over 100. And if it's not, then you definitely need to put more keywords and have things happening there. And this number over here is a number of, that's in over 90 days. This number is over 7 days, and that number should be over 50. So if you get those two numbers, over 100 and over 50, woohoo, your LinkedIn profile is working for you. And the next one is the number of recommendations that you've both given and received. So let's go down here, and also the number of endorsements. So my top 3 skills are LinkedIn training and writing, and you should have a minimum of 20 votes for each of those. So you can nominate those skills. And then the recommendations, both given and received. So you should aim for at least 6 of both of those, 6 received and 6 given. So please do not be afraid if you're connected to one of your lecturers to give them a really good recommendation for their amazing work, because likewise, every time somebody looks at your lecturer's LinkedIn profile, they're going to see your name. And if, you know, somebody was looking for someone with your expertise and contacted a lecturer and said, who can you recommend? Well, obviously the lecturer might be tempted to recommend you because you've already acknowledged their expertise. So I really encourage you to do that. That lady attended a workshop of mine, she's put it up, and so now 1,243 people are every 90 days are potentially looking at that information. So you can be quite strategic about where you give recommendations, and you can also ask people to give you recommendations as well. The next thing is whether or not you have an all-star profile. Now, it's very easy to get an all-star profile, and all it means is that you've filled in enough boxes on your LinkedIn profile. So that's that one there. Okay, so again, please feel free to pop any questions you have in the chat. I'm keeping a very close eye on it, and would love to be able to answer any specific questions that you have. You can also put posts in the newsfeed. So if you really want to be active on LinkedIn, you could do one a week, and you can also write articles, and I recommend, you know, 3 a year for that. And I'll show you a bit more information about those in a minute. Now, before I work with any of my clients, what I always do is save their LinkedIn profile to PDF before I make any changes, because everything you do on LinkedIn is live and you can't go back to what it was previously. So I'll just check the chat here. Views into job offers, thanks, Woodveen. Well, I'll show you lots of those things as we go through LinkedIn. So first of all, in the browser, if you're using Google Chrome, which is where LinkedIn usually works, is you need to click the 3 dots and choose settings. And then over on the left, you'll choose advanced, and then you choose downloads. And then you slide this button across here, ask where to save each file before downloading. So if you haven't already got that setting on, I do encourage you to do that first. Now, the next thing we do is we go back to the LinkedIn profile and we go up to more and we choose Save to PDF. Now, this keeps a digital copy of your LinkedIn profile. So I recommend that you save it with today's date back to front, and that keeps them in date order in your folder. And then you put your name separated with dashes. You should always get used to putting dashes in file names, not spaces, because if you get into web design, Google can read words if they've got those dashes, but if there's an underscore, it joins words together, so you don't rank as well. So with that, and then the word LinkedIn dash profile, and then you can save it to your computer. And that way you've got a PDF version of your LinkedIn profile. Now, the good news is that you can do the same thing on anybody else's LinkedIn profile. I do not recommend that you print my LinkedIn profile. It is many, many pages, but definitely you can save it to PDF and borrow as many ideas as you like. You're also welcome to stalk me online as many times as you want. I'll be super excited you're borrowing my ideas and thinking about how you could use what I've done for your purpose. So I really, really encourage you to do that, and also to save it after you've made lots of changes. Thanks, Min, saying that was a great tip. Okay, the next thing you should do on a periodic basis with your LinkedIn profile is you should download your data. So here it is. After you press privacy and settings, you just scroll down until it says get a copy of your data. You tick the top box and you request it. Now what happens is when LinkedIn has prepared your data, they'll send you an email with a link, and you need to click on that link and download those files as soon as possible, because it only lasts for 72 hours. And then after that, it'll disappear. But one of the files in there will be able to be opened in Excel, and you can see the first name, last name, current job, current company, and date you connected with all of your connections. Parul's asked how to grow your network and build more relevant connections. Well, always start off with everybody you know first, then look at places where you would like to work, follow those companies, look at who works there, potentially reach out to them, but under no circumstances annoy people. If you send out 100 invitations to connect and 95 of them say no, then the algorithm is going to say you are spamming people on LinkedIn. So you need to be strategic and not do it too much. If you register for events, you can try connecting with some people who are going to the same event. And yes, Emma's realised you can use the data archive. That's a way to check your connections and then perhaps reconnect with those people. Hi Mary, you've been part of my network for 3 years now. Just thought I'd let you know I'm now studying at Swinburne and I'm really interested in an internship in a couple of years' time. Can you make any suggestions as to who I should connect to between now and then? Yeah, so I do want to get through most of the handout, so I'll move along. I might come back to some of those more in-depth questions near the end, so that we do get through the bulk of the content here. Okay, so the next thing that's those two. Then there's a few settings. Now this next setting I'm going to do is the number one most important thing you really must do on LinkedIn today. If you have an account, you need to log in and do this. It's very, very easy. And if your name's not John Smith, you should have a pretty good chance of getting your own URL. So once you look at your LinkedIn profile, so you click on your face over here on the right, left, and then over on the right, it says edit public profile and URL. Now, when you first create a LinkedIn account, you'll get a URL that says first name dash last name dash numbers and letters. And that is the standard one that LinkedIn automatically gives you. But you need to change it to just your first name and last name, or if you've got 3 names, or put a dash if it's not available. But definitely change this URL. If you don't change this URL, what's going to happen is that you will not come up in search results. And it also looks much nicer on your resume, on your email signature, if you put in a nice tidy link. This is also where you can turn your visibility off or on if you don't want to be on, and also you need to keep everything else turned on there public. So it's nice and easy to do, but also essential. The next one is your photograph, and your photograph should have your eyes on the 1/3 line. And you might say, well, Sue, why are you not doing that? And I'll say, well, my purpose is slightly different and I want to promote my book as well. So that's why I'm doing it. And why is it, Jessica's asked, why is it important for undergrads? Well, you've got to start building your network straight away. As far as I'm concerned, every year 11 student should get a LinkedIn profile. And you should connect with all the friends at school. everybody you've met in voluntary work, in sporting clubs, everywhere, because a network is what guarantees your income security, not a job, your network. So yeah, that's why I recommend that. Best time to make a LinkedIn? Now, Femi, do it now. Okay, so your photo. So as I said, I do encourage you to have the eyes on the 1/3 line. So I'll just zoom in on this photo to show you what I mean. Because if your eyes are here and there's all this space above your head, you look short. If you zoom a little bit more and put the hair at the top of the profile and the eyes on the 1/3 line, you look much more assertive, and I can see, you know, if I'm looking at your LinkedIn profile, much more of your face. Also recommend you wear a high neck garment to frame your face, because the focus should be on the eyes, not on the neck or the chest or any other part of your body. Because, you know, people want to connect with you as a person rather than just, you know, some names on a screen. The next thing that is really going to determine how you are branded is your headline. And this is where, even if you're looking for a part-time job, you have to have words in here. And when I was Sue Everything, because I can do this, I can do that, I can do something else, I was basically not getting any inquiries. But when I gave myself a label, Independent LinkedIn Specialist, people remembered that Sue does LinkedIn. And so that's how I keep getting work. And then some people think to themselves, well, she does LinkedIn, she probably knows something about social media or websites or careers or business. And of course I do. But LinkedIn was the one I decided to focus on. I also help people with their careers. I classify myself as a gigster, as a person who uses technology to attract aligned gigs. I do business work, social media, marketing. I run 2 networks. I've written 4 books. 5th one's on the way, 2 more after that. I write poetry and I love dancing. So in just those few words, people can get a really clear idea of some of the things that I can do for them. You do not want to put seeking opportunities in there. In the contact info, I put in all my details, my profile link on the Career Development Association of Australia website, where my books are published at 120 Ways. I tell people how they can reach me, Twitter, Skype, etc. And to the person who asked me before about how you can convert leads into inquiries, well, all my contact info was there, but it's also immediately at the top of my About section. So people don't have to click on anything to be able to reach out to me. And here you can also see how I work and a bit of a bio, but all of that information is immediately available. Tips on asking for reviews in LinkedIn from our uni. Good question, Jessica. Politely, I would suggest. First of all, connect with them. You might like to follow some of their things and what they do on LinkedIn and like some of their posts if they are posting. And then at some point, just personally ask, say, I've created a LinkedIn profile. I've really appreciated your teaching this semester. What I've most valued is X, Y, and Z, whatever that is. And if you feel comfortable, would you be able to write a recommendation for me on LinkedIn? Now, they may say no, and that's perfectly fine. The worst that's going to happen is they're going to say no, but there's a good chance they could say yes. So it is always worth asking and, you know, doing that as well. How to make your page look good if you have little experience or you're just starting. Every single thing you've done, every community group, volunteer project, sporting club, like as I said, I teach year 11 students how to create LinkedIn profiles and they have even less experience than you. So don't be afraid to say what you're learning as much as what you actually have done. So you can say you're an aspiring accountant. That doesn't mean you're an accountant now, but it does mean you plan to be in the future. If you're a volunteer, you're happy to write. Oh yes, there you go. Swinburne Student Union said if you're volunteering for them, they're happy to write you a recommendation. So go for it. An online portfolio for design students. Look, multiple places. Definitely you can link to it in the contact info section, but you can put the link also in your current job. So even though you're a student, you can add a link here. And what there's also an option for now is these featured posts. So if you add it here, you can feature a link there, and that can be to your online profile. But I would also add, rather than just having an online profile on some other website, I would actually really encourage you to create your own website in your own name. So I've got one at sueellson.com, and put everything there, because that you keep forever, no matter what happens. And it's really good to archive it on your design journey. So great questions. Thank you for that. This person, awesome, SSU, yes. Yes, the recording will be available later, Femi. Thank you. And thank you, Lucy, for answering those questions in the chat too. It means I can carry on with some of the other content here. So I've talked about the photo. If you want some more tips, if you want to get one, you can go there. The headline's there. The background picture. Now, that's this part up here. And you can see here I've left white space around my face, and I've told a bit of a story over there. Now, you can just go with a plain colour. Do not leave it that horrible blue spotty liney thing that LinkedIn does, because you want the focus to go on your face. So if you want a white or a blue background, let me know by email, and I'll flick the image across through to you. Now, back to the document. The summary, how to write it, is written in there. And then there's a few settings that you can change at the back end of your LinkedIn profile. So if you click on me and choose settings and privacy, first of all, on the account tab here, you can see here, I joined 2003. I'm very excited about that. On the account, you add in all your email address. So add in any school email addresses, university email addresses, Gmails, Hotmails, whatever you've got, add them all in so that you don't end up with a duplicate account. And don't ever remove any of those email addresses from your account either. Obviously, your primary one can be your personal email, so that everything comes through to you, but always add in every other email address you've got. You can see I've had quite a lot. You can also, there's lots of settings, but I'm only going to focus on the main ones today. Autoplay videos, you can turn that off so you don't chew up all your data if you're out on your phone. And in privacy, if you're really looking for opportunities even now, you would want your email address available to anyone on LinkedIn in the contact info section. And you also want to turn this one off. Viewers of this profile also viewed. So if I left this turned on and somebody came to me looking for LinkedIn advice, it would show everybody who came to Sue looking for LinkedIn advice would also go and see all those other people as well. And of course, that's not helpful to me unless it's late at night and I want to do a bit of espionage. So really encourage you to leave that one turned off and only turn it on as you need to. Likewise, if you do end up with a job interview, you might want to check out the interviewer without them knowing that you looked at their LinkedIn profile. So in that case, you can just come in here and turn yourself anonymous. And then when you've looked at their profile, you come back here and then you turn yourself back on. Now, some people say, I want to be anonymous all the time, but that would mean that you wouldn't be able to see who has looked at your profile. And also, if you do look at someone else, there's a 30% chance they will then look at you. So that can be helpful as well. You can turn off a couple of other settings, and if you accidentally sync your phone with your LinkedIn, you can unsync it there. Yeah, there's lots of little settings, but we won't go through all those now. Okay, back to our document. Now, in the website section I showed you before, use 3 links you can put in there. If you choose other, then you can actually write a little description of that website link. And also, if you decide that you would like to have a little side hustle or a small business on the side and you want a little company, you can also add a company profile. That's a bit further down. But in your experience section, the way to write this up is to start with achievements, then tasks, then a description of the company and a link and some nice media to add in with details. If you are not currently working or you're only working voluntarily, or even you can also add in that you're doing career research. So you don't say unemployed since December, you actually say from January, you've been doing career research, you've been studying, you've been doing this, you've been doing that, so that you've got a current job in your LinkedIn profile. You definitely want to include your education, any voluntary work, top 3 skills you want to put at the top of your list so you can pin them to the top and get your recommendations. And then there's a whole bunch of other sections. So even if your only language is English, put it in. If you've done some French at school like I did, you can pop that in as well. And by all means, as I said before, stalk me as often as you like. If you do become a student member of a professional association, there's ways to showcase that on your LinkedIn profile as well. Here are the details if you decide to set up a company page. And so ways to maximise it, and if you are working, how you can support your employer. Everybody I do work for, I like to support some way or another. You can also join groups. The Swinburne alumni group is probably the main one you'd want to join immediately, so that you can be connected with, you know, past students and perhaps get their advice and help on some of your assignments. And then there are some specific tips for looking for work if you're trying to achieve that as well. So you definitely need to turn on your career interests, and you can also select 5 locations where you might like to be able to do that. How do I change where skills are pinned? Okay, Ali, we'll just go back to that. That's quite an easy thing to show you. So as you scroll down your LinkedIn profile, you'll get to the skills section, and there's a little pen there. And when you click on that pen, you will be able to unpin and repin depending on what you want to do. So just over here on the right, and this is already pinned. So if I don't want to take that one off, I just press it and it unpins it. Then if I want to put the writing first, not LinkedIn, I can use this little hamburger here over on the right and just drag it above it as well. So that enables you to change them. Sadia, yep, there's another question here. Member, do I just put next to that? Okay, about where to put your cancel. Okay, let's try and close that. Discard, yes. If you go through that article on professional membership of LinkedIn, it will tell you where you can put everything. So I am a member of the Institute of Managers and Leaders. So as soon as you go into my About section, you'll see that in my bio, I've got my degree there, and then Institute of Managers and Leaders, member of the Australian Human Resources Institute, the Melbourne Press Club, Career Development Association Australia, Australian Society of Authors, Writers Victoria, and Families in Global Transition. So that's, I've put all my memberships there, and skill, strongest to weakest. Oh, the skills you put in, Femi, are based on whatever you're trying to achieve. Oops, sorry, I'll just close that, discard the changes. And then also your membership can be showcased, even if it is only associate, in licenses and certifications, as well as organisations. So you can see that I've got those memberships in there as well. Pedro's asked about premium. As I said earlier in the presentation, only if you've done all of this first. It's a waste of money if you don't do this stuff first. But what it is good for is seeing the last 90 days of people who've looked at your LinkedIn profile so that you can reach out to them, and they're all warm leads in theory. You will appear higher in search results. You can look at 3rd level connections. You get access to LinkedIn Learning, which you can probably already do through Swinburne. You will appear higher in the list of job applicants if you apply for a job online. And you also look for, well, if they can afford premium membership, there's a bit of prestige value of having that as well. So yeah, they're all considerations. Where's my document gone? Closed off the wrong screen there. I'll just open it again. Okay. So you can also turn on job alerts, and if you want to work for a particular company, even at the end of your studies, I encourage you to start following them now. For example, the National Australia Bank definitely looks for recruits from people who are already following the National Australia Bank profile on LinkedIn. So I know that for a fact. You can also reach out to people, ask them for information. Don't say, hi, my name's Sue and I want a job. You know, not many people are going to say, oh, sure, come in. Hi, my name's Sue. I'm doing research into jobs in banking. I'm wondering if you'd be able to answer a few questions and give me some clues as to what I could do next. Fantastic. Also, if you've connected to all these other bankers before you've even left uni, then you're already going to have a bit of a reputation and a network in the banking industry, which is also going to be very helpful to you. Okay, chat. We'll be proactive, chasing a job and reaching out to potential companies, be a turn off. Okay, only if you're annoying and you're not respectful in that process. But, you know, there's a difference between people who ask, they usually get something they want some of the time. There was this research done which, you know, they had these people in the queue to the photocopier machine. I know it's an old research because who uses a photocopier anymore? Anyway, they suggested that somebody wanted to move ahead in the queue. And so somebody said, can I go ahead because I need to photocopy something? Well, everybody's in the queue to photocopy something, but they still had a 63% chance of the person saying yes. Then if they said, can I please go to the photocopier because this is an urgent report that has to get to the minister immediately, and it was 96% or something like that, they'd let them go ahead of them in the photocopier queue. And then another person just said, can I get a photocopy now, please? And they had a 93% chance of the person still saying yes. So I figure if it's worth asking, but just don't be annoying about it, you know, and be respectful of the other person and their time and how you think they might feel by being approached by you. I've got some tips about whether you're employed or studying there, and I definitely do not recommend you say, I've got 2 years of experience in digital marketing. Who cares? It's irrelevant. I have digital marketing experience using Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Snapchat, so on. All of that is much more helpful. And thanks for the answer, Femi. Yes, good. Talk about your language, your achievements in a language that's suitable for Australia. So if you think you're the latest and greatest, that's not going to go down too well in Australia. But if you say, I've done this, I've done that, I'm learning this, I've learned that, you know, all of that is fantastic. Now, the next thing I want to touch on, and literally this is touch on because still your LinkedIn profile is the #1 thing that you should fill in from today. But if you've done all that and you want to go next level, and don't do this step without doing the first step because it's just not going to work for you, is you need to start using LinkedIn as an attraction tool. And to do that, you start by being a nice person by liking, commenting and sharing content that is relevant to you from people you like. And that will give you lots of brownie points on the platform and help you appear higher in search results. So the first step is just engagement. And everybody will start to remember you because you like their posts. So yeah, but be selective. Don't like everything from a dog to a cat to something or other else. Not that there's many of those on LinkedIn, but you know, it's not a good idea to do too many cross sections. But if anything relevant from either your network or your topic or area of expertise, definitely engage with it. The second step is to curate. So you find something fantastic, and then what you do is you share it with your network. And that's, people get to know that you've always got great posts on your topic and they like it. And you can even end up with followers as well. And the third step is you actually create content. Now, Ryan's asked, what do large companies like NAB and Australian Super commonly look for? Well, they look for people who have not just studied their whole life, you know, head down, bottom up, that's it. They look for diverse people who can be taught and who can apply themselves from day one. I call this not being job ready, I call it job capable. That's what an employer wants. They want to see that you're capable of adapting to situations and you're willing to learn. So if you've just been working in the pizza shop, what have you done since you've been there? Have you instigate a new ordering process, or provided training to new employees, or were you selected to run the safety training? All of these things indicate really great skills and initiative and so on. So put those examples in your LinkedIn profile. Now, this article here, if you start posting, will explain how to make those posts go viral. And these are all little links you can click on, and you can try and work out why they were so popular. So they're good ideas. You can use a website called canva.com to create posts if you want something to look particularly nice as an image. And then you can also write articles. So if we just go to Google, and feel free to punch this in on your own computer, tough love for the unemployed. It's an article I wrote in 2017. It's still #1, page 1 of Google search results. So if you want to be known for a particular topic and you start writing about that, you might say, but Sue, I don't know anything about the topic. Well, I say, why don't you interview 10 people and get their best tips on your topic and make an article? Because that shows you have initiative, and it shows you've learned something, you've spoken to 10 people, or possibly more, because not all of them will say yes. And it's really great practice for you, and you'll learn amazing things from people who are out in the field doing it. So definitely you can write your own articles. You could rework an assignment from uni, all sorts of things you could publish. So definitely do not be afraid to publish. It's really good to start early. The next thing is, if you want to use LinkedIn for sales, sounds you've got a little sort of side hustle business and you want to sell your widgets online, this article will show you some tips on that, and also how to look beyond LinkedIn to find people. So if you can only search about 50 a month, I think. Once you get over that, you run out of the ability to search on LinkedIn, even if you have premium, but you can still do a Google advanced search, so you might want to use that. You can also use video on LinkedIn, a really, really great tool. Let me suggest only 1 to 2 minute videos though. You don't have to go on for too long. And also, as this event has been very well organised by Lucy, I really encourage you to write a review for the student union, the Swinburne Student Union, on either Facebook or on Google. So if you click one of those links, you can do that. Too many people only write reviews when something bad happens. So I really encourage you, every time you notice something good, to write a review, because your name will appear there. And I did a review. I went to St Joseph's College down in Geelong. And in fact, if you look at Swinburne, you'll find I've actually written them a review as well. But this St Joseph College, if you that photo I took, but if you go to have a look at their reviews, because I'm now where are the reviews gone? Screen's disappeared. Reviews. Oh, it says edit my reviews. Okay, 39 Google reviews, and voila, there I am. I've written 67 reviews with 118 photos. And if you click that link, you'll see where I have written reviews, and it tells you I'm a local guide. I've got this little 6-point star there, and I've earned 2,000 points. And then if we actually look at the reviews, you'll see that I've got loads of views of all my images, and yeah, it's been, where I've been, I've taken these reviews, and that's a really good way to sort of build your online brand as well. So definitely consider saying thank you. Not enough people say thank you anymore. So if you acknowledge anybody's good work by personally messaging them, writing them a note which they'll keep, or saying it online, that's really, really worthwhile. I also recommend that all of my clients who want to have an online profile have 3 things. I've already mentioned, obviously, LinkedIn, and I've also mentioned a website. And the third thing I recommend is a Google My Business profile. So if you're up for that, you get a little free 1-page website as well with it. You can follow that link there and get some information on creating your very first website online as well. And I know this probably sounds like a lot of stuff even before you start your studies. I'm not suggesting you do any of this tomorrow or in one day, but I am encouraging you to take this step, because you do need to have an online profile in the world we live in. You do need to have a network, and you do need to be able to publish content and have it so that there's a record of your achievements. The Google profile is not identical to LinkedIn. It's completely different. It's one page. It's more for a business, but you can do it as a person, because I've got one at sueellson.business.site. And yeah, just go for it. Also, as you produce content that you have published online, I recommend that you keep a record of it in Excel as a list of all the things you've published, and then copy that link where it was published, particularly if you get published in a newspaper, magazine or something like that, and paste that link into archive.org/web, and then there will be a permanent copy on the internet forever, long after we're all dead and buried. Our great-great-great-grandchildren can see what amazing things we published back in 2020. So definitely encourage you to do that as well. Now, what I would love to hear from you whilst we answer any questions over the last 7 minutes, for you to pop in the chat what has been most helpful to you today, because that's a great way to refresh people's memory of what we've discussed. And also, if you're brave enough to put it out there, what you plan to do within the next 3 days, because for most people, if you don't take action within the next 3 days, you've just wasted the last hour. And I'd really love to see you get some benefit, even if the only thing you do is edit your public profile URL. That's at least one thing that's super fast, super easy, and will definitely make a difference. So what's been most helpful, and what will you do, in the immediate future? Also, if you are thinking about creating a website for yourself, this is some information on what to do before you speak to a website designer or do it yourself, and how much you should pay if you want somebody else to do it for you, and if you've already got a website, how you would upgrade or redesign it. So here we go through the questions. We don't have any events straight after. Okay, good. So I can go over and answer questions till the cows come home. Okay, really informative. Thank you, Varen. Min, what content should I post on LinkedIn? Is reviewing books I've read? Sure, absolutely. Anything that you provide information, but don't just say, here's a link to my review. That's terrible. I recently read XYZ book. The 3 main points I got were blah, blah, blah. You can read my full review online at X and put the link in. And you can also put hashtags on LinkedIn as well. Really informative. The screen keeps moving on me now. New to LinkedIn, so very helpful in understanding how to set up my profile. Thank you, Nicola. Thank you, Min. Q, does reviewing school projects and posting your results public a great way to get more attractions? Okay, first of all, before you post something that was done in collaboration with somebody else, you need to get their permission to reuse it, because there could be, say, the business's details that we used or something like that. So you need to make sure that anything is not commercially sensitive before you publish it. So you could summarize the project and say, I worked for a small business to review their preparations for tax time, if you're that accountant. And what I learned was, and go for it, that's fine, but don't identify the accounting firm, because that, they may not want you to do that. Jessica got meaningful insights. Yes, Shami, it is good that SSU have done it. Make sure you register for lots of other things this whole week and get the most value. Look, one of the best things I did when I started uni by correspondence is I went to an open or orientation day, and I was so glad I did it. So don't underestimate the value of going to as many of these things during O Week as possible. Really, really worthwhile. Definitely setting up a LinkedIn account. Well done, Michelle. Connect if you like as well. I feel like I don't have enough experience to make my profile look good, and it's just a black hole of unemployment. Oh, Ali, I'm sorry to hear that. Look, even just starting by declaring your education and what you did at school is all really, really good. Now, I'll just show you. Now, this girl had done amazing things at school, so it's not every student would have this kind of LinkedIn profile. But I did this for her in year 12, Zoe. So let's just go to Zoe's profile and you'll get an idea. She hasn't worked at all. Oh no, it's not that one. Oh no, because she's not there anymore. She's alumni. Yeah. Look, Ali, please message me directly and I'll get you the link to this other student's profile. I'm sorry I don't remember her name straight off the top of my head, but it will give you an idea of what you can still put in. Sherry, thank you for sharing. Great. Femi, thank you. Yes. Yasmin, thank you. Carol, thank you. Ryan, thanks. Pedro, very useful. Thanks for the tips. Great. Photo of what we did for uni. Personal projects on LinkedIn. Okay, when I take photographs, I normally take them from the back of the room so people's faces are not in it. So just be very, very conscious of putting people's faces online. And again, getting permission from your university lecturer or whatever, if it's okay, or the other people in the photo to do it. But images are great, and particularly if they've got faces in them. So if you do get the written permission that you put in an email or something, then, you know, that's really good. Love your approach to keeping your own image in the forefront and on top of the searching list. Yes, URL editing is a game changer. Absolutely it is. Everybody should do it. Can I get, yes, Femi, just email me and I'll send you that student's profile as well. Go for education since I'm a first year uni. Yes, Tara, absolutely. You'll see my high school is there. I went to Henley High School in Adelaide, and I haven't managed to convince them to update their LinkedIn profile so it shows as their logo. But I am working with my secondary school to make that happen because I want their logo to be on there. Femi's new to the workforce as well. Cool. Excellent. So we got 1 minute. Oh no, thanks so much from Tara as well. I've got another minute officially, but I'm happy to hang around and answer any other questions that you have now. And also, as I said, if you want to shoot a question to me via email, more than happy for you to do that. I welcome your invitation request on LinkedIn if you would like to connect with me. I'd really like to thank you for turning up and staying for the whole hour. That shows that you are proactive in the first place, because this invitation was sent to a lot of people, but you guys are the ones who showed up. So well done on turning up. That really means a lot, and I appreciate your involvement. Assess an account for a minute. Uday, I'm happy to assess your account. You've sent me an invitation request. Okay, let's have a look. Well, you're brave having me do this in public in front of everybody else. Let's see if we can get your profile up. Come on, let's see. Uday, here we go. Okay, so first of all, Uday doesn't have a headline at all. So you definitely need to have a headline in here. Change this background. You need to say that you're in Melbourne, because we're not going to give you a job in Melbourne if it says you're in India. I'll just accept. You're connected to Olivia. She's amazing. I've done several workshops with Olivia. I definitely need to add in some more detail here, but not your date of birth, please. Please do not put your date of birth on anything you don't have to. Completing a master's, you need your contact details in here. You can add in that you're currently studying now, as well as being a store team member, but you also might like to provide details of what you do at Woolworths, including anything like, you know, follow occupational health and safety rules, complete online training in X, so on and so forth. This site engineer position, definitely need to go into a lot more detail there. Put all your subjects in for Swinburne. Oh, he's done some micro things from LinkedIn. Fantastic to see that. And get some votes, send out some recommendations, so on and so forth. Now we've also got Eloise Gardner. Swinburne emerging leader, I presume that's you. Footballer, that's interesting. Okay, so all of these qualifications in the headline look sexy, but they're not going to give you any leads. So you can put those in the about section and put what you want to be found for in the headline. Again, change your background. Aim for more connections. You've got the minimum of 60, but next goal is to get 500. You can make your email address visible if you'd like people to reach out to you. Definitely lots more details in the descriptions for all of these. See if the Melbourne Sports Institute has a profile so that their logo appears when you choose that. Definitely talk more about your sports. It sounds really interesting what your career is here. So in the summary, you could go into a lot more detail about that. Put in where you got this Cert 3 from. There should be some sort of school or provider who gave that to you, and that would be good as well. Would it be possible to assess because of COVID-19? Okay, Femi, on that first page of the notes, it mentioned what you can do for your career whilst you're working from home. So please start going through that now, because that's going to give you the background profile. So the background profile, as you'll see on mine, it has, instead of that blue, it's got a picture there. See, that's a picture. Now you've got a couple of options. I'll show you another profile and you'll see what I mean. And with Carmen, she's wearing that lovely blue shirt. And then what we've done is we've created an image which puts that colour in the background, and it just looks much nicer and drags the eye to her face so that you can see how good that looks as well. Sarah, thank you. Regarding a fictional essay, this is like to be a good content for LinkedIn posts. Femi, anything that is relevant to what you're trying to achieve is fine to include. Obviously, I wouldn't suggest anything sexual because that's likely to offend. And I have a little motto which is called friendly and professional. I avoid funny and I avoid personal. Problem with funny is some people will think it's funny and other people will not like it at all. So I avoid funny. And personal, nobody needs to know about my love life or how well I am or anything like that on LinkedIn. All they need to know is, how I can add value so that I can attract opportunities to me. So if any of you want individual personalised analysis, I can offer a discounted rate, but I don't do it for free. So what I would suggest you do is go through the notes and get everything done that you can understand. Look back at my LinkedIn profile, compare it to that. Once you've done all of those things, then we can make a time, work out what you can afford, and then I'll assess it and tidy it up for you as well. Do I need to ask my tutor even if I post which don't show any people's face? Okay, Jessica, the thing is, I don't know what that uni project is. I don't know what information it has in it, whether it's referenced, whether it's not referenced, and so on. But if you ever have any concerns, you just always need to say, this is what I'd like to post, send it to the people who've been involved, ask them if it's okay to publish. If it's not, let it go. If it is, go ahead. But definitely get written permission before you automatically do that. Amazing, thank you. Simple but nice layout, Carmen. Yes, it is. Definitely do the changes, fantastic. Is it recommended to add evidence of it? Pedro, you can add those images of your awards and certificates, but as you'll see on my LinkedIn profile, I provide links. I'm now in the ARI Hall of Fame, so I've provided a link to that. So I think that anywhere where there's a link, that's really, really cool as well. So why can't we include date of birth? Okay, Jessica, your date of birth is part of your personal identity. And I'm an ex-banker, as you know, and if somebody gets access to your identity, they can steal things from you. So that's why I do not share it. Now, some people will work it out because they work it out on your Facebook profile and so on, but nobody needs to know how old you are, whether you're too old or too young. I'm 55, I'm proud of it. If people don't want to work with me because they think I'm too old, I say, see you later. And the way I prove my value at my age is I usually always start with an introduction, which says that I attend between 1 and 4 events per week. Now, since we've been in lockdown, it feels like about 10 events per week, but I'm always learning. So even though I have a degree, I've continued to learn every week for the rest of my life since finishing my degree in the year 2000. So don't worry about age. It's completely irrelevant. What is important is the value you provide. Where would you put professional membership? Sorry, I missed that. Nicola. Okay, so in your summary, in your licenses and certifications, and in your organisations, and potentially if you've got a profile on their website, on the in the info section in contact, where you can put website links. What did I do in the banking industry? That's an interesting question, Ryan. Well, I started off as a career recruit working in retail banking at Adelaide head office for 4 years, 8 months and 1 day. Not that I was counting, of course. I then got a transfer to another suburban branch and they offered me a promotion, but that meant I wouldn't be working with customers. So I declined a promotion. Can you believe that? And then they decided that I would be good as a trainer. So it was only 5 years, less than 5 years after I started my job, I started training for Westpac. And what we would do is we would attend courses and then we'd have to teach them. So some of those were in IT, which I had never done before. So I'd attend a 3 or 6 hour course and then I had to teach it 2 days later. So it meant I had to learn things very, very quickly. I then went back into branches doing a lot of different things. I worked on a special project for the bank, working out how to stop tellers, which are the people who handle the cash, lose money. And then I went into recruitment and did all the grads program and all the entry-level recruiting for the bank as well. So that's people who weren't qualified or been to uni. And I also did branch amalgamations. So I did lots of things, 11 years. It was an amazing start to my career. And I'm so glad for the corporate experience. But now I love combining my work and my life. It's just fabulous. But thanks for the question, Ryan. Can't remember the exact word, but it seems to be like showy applicants. Okay, Femi, so when you say something, if you say, I was noticed as the best person in the whole team because I did such and such, it sounds showy. But if I said, I was part of a team of 6 people and together we were responsible for reducing expenses by 25%. Wow. Now I see you're a team player. I know what you did. You know, like everything is really, really cool. You said before Australian employers doesn't like up and coming much. Tickets, well, it's not very attractive. Oh no. All I'm using, when I say about not like up and coming, is I'm saying the language you use. You absolutely must showcase all of your achievements, no doubt about it, but just don't be flowery in the language that you use. Okay, patient with my questions, yes. Recorded version workshop, yes. Post on our website. I think I missed a question a bit further up. Oh no, I haven't. Any other questions? I'm just going to have a mouthful of water, fire away. Thanks, Michelle. I might stop the screen sharing just so we can see one another. If you'd like to pop your face up. Would any of you like to go? I don't think I can do breakout rooms. I was going to say it would have been good to put you in breakout rooms so you could talk to one another. Lucy, can you just open up and let me know if that's a possibility from your end?
We won't be able to do breakup rooms at the moment because we will be having sessions on this channel later today. Gotcha. However, I will just jump in now and say, well, first of all, thank you so much, Sue. This has been fantastic.
You're welcome.
But also everyone who's still in the chat at the moment, we will be putting out a survey in the Facebook event later today, along with the website and Sue's notes. And if you wanted to fill out the survey, it's really quick. Just let us know what you thought of this session, because if we get enough people saying how much you loved it, which I can see from the chat that you did, we might be able to get Sue back on board. We would love to come back. So if everyone's able to fill that out and say that you want her to come back, I'll be able to petition to get her back, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. More than happy to come back. And as I said, if you've got a quick question, you don't feel comfortable posting it here, just send me a quick email, and I'm happy to, get back to you. Happy for you to connect with me on LinkedIn. If you connect with me, you get access to 19,000 more connections, because there'll be second level connections to you, which means you're more likely to appear in search results. And most of those 19,000 people are actually in Melbourne. But there's a lot of internationals as well. Yeah. Thanks, Ali. Got to fly. Yep. All good. Really useful, Emma. Thank you. Amita, thank you. Yes. Hope you all have a lovely afternoon and an amazing week ahead. Welcome to university. It's a fabulous ride. Give it your all. It's, I'm so glad I got my degree. Never regretted a moment of any of the study that I've done. So, yeah, thank you. Don't forget to write a review as well as do the survey if you can.
All right, perfect. I think we will wrap it up there, guys. Thanks again, Sue. That was really great. And like I said, I'll be putting those links in the Facebook event later today.
Lucy, you might like to save the chat as well before you go to give extra feedback to the people above.
Yes, true. Good idea. All right.
Super.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Bye.